Welcome back, traders. So today, unfortunately, another red day, but fortunately, it was a very small red day. Actually, the small cap price action has been so weak this week that Monday I was red, Tuesday I was red, Wednesday I was green, yesterday I was green, and then today I was red again. But all my red days were so small because we managed our risk. Cutting losses is our number one rule. We just didn't see the opportunities there. And I'm actually green for the week pretty nicely because our green day, we had a little bit of opportunity and then we were milking it, right? You know, just taking stabs till we eventually grab something. That's kind of what happened yesterday. Today, didn't see any opportunities because today, all the large caps were flying. And I mean, SNOW, Snowflake had their recent IPO today. Tesla was down like 7% today at one point, big bounce there. A lot of the mid and large caps were really on fire today in both directions. I want to talk a little bit about SNOW, honestly, today. This was a recent IPO that I know a lot of you guys in the chat room and the live stream were talking about, and for rightfully so, because we've been seeing some beautiful tech IPOs lately this year, and Snowflake is no exception. Also, it has huge hype around it. It was oversubscribed. We'll talk about that a little bit more. It has Warren Buffett as an early investor, and their IPO price, which originally was like between I think $75 and $80 based on their offering pamphlet, then run to $120, and then it didn't even open till $245. So this thing is extremely oversubscribed. Now, I won't get too much into the fundamentals and the details and yada yada. I'm more of a technical trader, so I want to think about how would I possibly swing trade this ticker in the next few days and weeks. That's really where I really like to put a lot of my attention to. Now, I do think Snowflake could be a great investment. I'll talk a little bit about why, but for that, I'll also be talking about how I would add that to my investment portfolio a bit down the road. Now I want to be focusing a little bit more on possible swing trades. So in this video, we're actually going to be focusing on SNOW first, then we'll talk about some of the day trades I made today, and then also talk about DKNG, which we finally sold today. That was a beautiful swing trade. So guys, without further ado, let's go to the charts now. If you're totally new here, consider subscribing, join the live streams. They're absolutely fire. At least I think they are. You guys are absolutely amazing in the chat room, and the more the merrier. So guys, without further ado, let's go to the charts now and talk about Snowflake. All right, guys, welcome back. So before we review the trades we made today in DKNG, the swing trade we closed today, let me talk a little bit about Snow. I know this is a little bit lopsided. Usually I will review the trades first, but you know what? I just had it up and I kind of wanted to start with it. So why not? Plus, small caps were just so slow today. SNOW, Snowflake, they had a recent IPO at $245. This is actually impressive because if you go to their financials here, I always use BAM SEC or Finviz really to kind of dig a little bit deeper, or OTC Markets. That's a really nice place. You guys can read about the proposal, the IPO proposal. It's actually really interesting, and you can see their original proposal was actually moved up. This isn't even their original. They moved it up so many times. Just yesterday, I think, or right before the IPO, it was supposed to go at 120 and they kept on moving it up. It means it was oversubscribed. That's actually a really good thing. It means there were so many people that were interested to buy the stock. Here you can see it again on the Class A common stock kind of pamphlet. That was, you know, priced at $120. And there's so many people that were constantly trying to buy this stock, get in on it. They moved it all the way up to $245. So that's actually where it IPO'd. Now, this is the reverse of something like RKT, for example, rocket companies, which originally wanted to IPO, I think at like 25 or something like that, but there wasn't enough investors, and they actually had to IPO a little bit lower. So this is the reverse of that. RKT, they had a nice little explosion here. They pulled back. We actually ended up trading these guys a couple times. I don't know, was it only on this account? Yeah, we traded it here again on a different account. I was like, I knew I traded these guys twice. I'm not the biggest fan of trading IPOs because it's harder to read these guys. But you know, with a ticker like RKT, we knew that since it had a big run up, you know, a little IPO hype, and then it came back to recent IPO prices, it kind of gives you an idea, okay, well, this is where it opened up before, this is where I IPO'd, there's probably some big support here, so maybe we can see some sort of continuation from these points. Now, I'm more of a technical trader, so that's really what I like to focus on. So when we talk about, SNOW here, that's a little bit of what I want to be focusing on. So SNOW obviously opened at 245, like we just said, had a ridiculously big run up here. about 30%, and then by the end of the day, it actually ended up selling off here about, what was that, 5% from the IPO price, and this dip alone was like 27, 28%, really, really strong. I was thinking I would love to actually trade SNOW, or not trade it, I would like to swing trade it. To me, that's always a little bit different, but as a day trader, swing trading is like a different world. So what I would be looking for is trying to figure out, okay, where's support? Well, we know some key zones. Let's just identify a little bit of zones here. So we know this 258 zone. We know this 245 zone. And these are kind of like the only two kind of critical zones I would probably say or argue that we kind of know for certain are kind of important. And the reason for that is this candle opened here and it closed here, right? This candle right here opened here, and down here a little bit, we had a wick here, we had a retest here, we had an open, and then it started closing a little bit lower. So we have a little bit more price contacts, right? The more a price kind of hits a certain zone, the more you know it's kind of a significant area. So what you always want to do, typically, if I'm looking at a small cap company, trading it for the first time, I've never seen it before, I'll start on the weekly chart, I'll go to the daily chart, and then I'll go to like, I don't know, the 4-hour chart, right? To figure out support and resistance. On a recent IPO, you don't really have that. So we started out on the 4-hour chart. Now let's go to the 15-minute chart and see what else we can kind of dig up here. So it looks like kind of 230 zone is kind of important. I would probably argue 300 and obviously 320 is kind of important. These are all-time highs. You also got to remember you don't want to clutter your chart. So let's go ahead and identify this kind of $215 zone. It's kind of the last spot. So already there's already like more lines than you typically want, and I'll probably go ahead and remove some of these lines as the price continues, right? But these are kind of like key zones, kind of pivot areas. You can see where we held this area a few times, and once we broke that, we had a nice little flush, and then we bounced back above it, and now we're bouncing off of this zone here a little bit. Kind of weak here, never got to this high shoulder here, so kind of interesting. Volume's dying a little bit, market's selling off as well. Not maybe the best conditions for an overall first day of an, or I guess you could say second day of an IPO, when there's a lot of fear in the market. So what I know for a fact though now is that 215 is a big IPO price. We also know, or a bit of a support zone. We also know that 120 was their original kind of target. So maybe there is that kind of small chance that we're actually going to break 200 and go into the. I don't really see this going down to 120 just yet. That would be actually a ridiculously strong sell-off. But what I would probably see this one doing is maybe trying to retest this $200 area. I think we all know that, $100, $200, $500, or like with Tesla, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000. Those are all like key psychological zones, right? When I trade small caps, $1, $1.50. $2.50, $2. Those are all like kind of key zones you see a lot of kind of bouncing going off of. So I would not be surprised if we had to dip under 200. And that's why I think if I wanted to swing trade Snow, I would look for a starter size around $200, depending how strong we break this one. I think that'd be really, really interesting. As an investment, I think, or as a longer term hold, I think anything breaking below $200 and then taking starter size and averaging down would be how I would treat an investment. Or I would give this thing like 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, let it kind of simmer a little bit, figure out what the lows and the highs are, and then buy it on any sort of retest of a low. That's probably how I would treat it as an investment. But for now, I'm thinking, what can happen before December? What can happen the next few kind of days and weeks? And that's really what I want to make the focus of this video. Now, I do think before I enter any sort of swing trade, I always want to understand the company. I avoid a lot of stocks that I don't fully understand. And that's why I didn't trade Snow on IPO day. And I oftentimes don't ever trade stocks on the IPO day. But basically, Snowflake is a cloud, the cloud data platform. At first, I was like, I was a little bit confused about it. You guys know Trade Journal. This is where I document all my trades, and I actually coded most of Trade Journal myself. And at the same time, I've been involved in many software projects, and I've been coding since pretty much like high school. So it's like, to me, I get kind of what they do, but I don't exactly get why they might be better than, let's say, AWS, or for what I use DigitalOcean for a lot of my hosting, providing sort of cloud services. There's also Windows, Azure, Microsoft Azure. So there's a lot of competition in this space. And you also have like Google platform, whatever it's called. I don't use them, so I forgot the name, but you have a lot of competition in this space. And I wasn't totally sure, where's the edge on something like Snowflake. So what I would really recommend for everyone to do is go to the Snowflake filing here, and then obviously open up the, I think it's prospect with the pricing info. That is this second one right here. And just kind of go through this document on your own time. You could find some kind of interesting things on how they try to differentiate themselves. I could see myself as a developer actually looking into using them a little bit more. I was reading this actual article right here, and it seemed kind of interesting. We talked a little bit about the Snowflake architecture, and one of my quick takeaways on this one was it seems like, I don't know if you guys ever used AWS, but it's an absolute nightmare. It's like you go in there and you're setting up some sort of server, like I host a lot of images and whatnot on AWS and for Trade Journal, and I'm just, it's like a freaking mind zone. You're like, I'm always so scared of breaking something. I'm like, it's very unuser friendly, right? And I've been coding for a really, really long time. And I don't think I've met anyone that is like, oh yeah, I love AWS. Snowflake is actually built on top of AWS. And it seems like it's more a kind of software focused architecture where let's see if we can, so, and it's a true SaaS offering. So you're not really configuring anything. You're kind of like selecting a few settings, and then you kind of really focus on setting up your database or whatever you're doing through the command prompt. So it seems a little bit more straightforward, I would say. I haven't used it myself, but that's kind of what it seems like. It's a little bit more everything that you need. There's some sort of protocol for it, and it kind of goes along with just kind of ease of use. It seems like they're really focusing on simplicity and more, direct to the consumer instead of, AWS, where it's like they're throwing everything at you and they're just like, build it. Here's basically the Legos. This is kind of like you have the structure and you're a little bit more set up. And I've also heard it's a little bit cheaper, but I don't totally know about that. But yeah, so that's basically what it is. It does seem like there's actually a place for it. As coming from like somebody who's spent a lot of time on AWS, I've always been like, oh, I wish there was kind of a different option for this. That's actually why I probably went with DigitalOcean for a lot of my hosting needs. So I kind of do like what I'm seeing here with SNOW. I kind of understand why there's a place for it. So I don't necessarily think that the competition is really that bad. I think it's really just, it's a big, healthy space, and a player like Snowflake is definitely there's room for it. That's kind of how I feel about it. Now let's kind of get a little bit back into the where is it the technicals here, and how I would go about trading this one. Well, if I was looking to swing trade SNOW, I would be really looking for maybe a retest here under 220 and then around 215. This could be a quick little move. I probably wouldn't hold this one too long. To me, I would be waiting for maybe a crack of 200, like I said before. And if the crack of 215 is very weak, and we're really, like, let's say this is a red day and tomorrow's a very low red day with very low volume, and then pre-market we maybe break 200 or something like that, and we're really, not seeing a lot of selling volume around 190, then you could pretty much guarantee that I'm going to be picking up some SNOW around the 190s. Right now, I just see a lot of risk in this one. Yeah, we might shoot up through 300 and 325, but for the fact that this company was going to IPO at 120 really makes me want to be a little bit more pause off right now, because I'm like, this seems like a very high stock. Yes, there's, good upside potential, right? But there's also like 50% upside potential before you even reach this former high. But there's also, I feel like, a lot of downside potential. I mean, if we actually do get to these former IPO prices about 120, which I kind of doubt, I mean, we're talking about some pretty serious dips. So right now, risk reward might be kind of closer to 1-to-1. I mean, at the same time, I'd probably argue, okay, if $200 cracks, then you can cut your losses, right? But at the same time, I would probably rather see $200 crack with low volume before I jump into SNOW. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I would love to hear what you guys are going to be doing, but that is probably how I will be going about trading SNOW. If you guys want to learn more about swing trading and day trading, don't forget to stop by on the live streams. We go live every morning at 9:15 a.m. to review our watch list, and then we trade the market open. And around like 10:30 a.m., I typically stop day trading and I start, adjusting my swing trades. And we talk about swing trades and a little bit more like that. So I'd love to see you there. If you're totally new, don't forget to subscribe. But let's go actually review this a little bit. So let me go to my day trading account. Oh God, today was such a ridiculous day. So yesterday was a really nice green day. We made $400, which is pretty solid based on our average position size of roughly around $2,700, $2,500 right now. So that was a really good return. But Today we saw zero really action in the small cap space. I mean, I'm talking about like this is probably one of the slowest days I've seen in a long time in small caps. Large caps were, they were moving. So I actually didn't end up trading much. I did 2 trades, both of them were scratches. And I basically said, okay, well, you know what, small caps, I'm just not going to trade it today. It's not a day where I really want to be, shooting blanks and, doing trials and, hoping for the best, because, it's a day where it's just not a lot of volume and action, so it's easy to trip over yourself. I'm personally more of a dip trader, if you guys don't know, so I really like to buy when when the price is selling off. Right here, I bought a little bit and then I averaged down a little bit more. Didn't really get the move to the 9 EMA early when I was looking for. I was looking for a quick, base hit, like 1.5% profit pre-market. So very, very small move. Didn't really get that. And then I sold here as we were moving back up. I took a small loss on this one. And then same here, we had a nice little break above VWAP. I was like, okay, this is looking good. I don't really think that we're going to instantly break higher here because the last time we actually had a little bit of a flush. VWAP is a rough zone for SRNE. So I was like, okay, well, if we dip below it, I'll actually end up trading this one and look for actually a continuation from here. So that's kind of my goal here. We ended up going for it. It dipped down and then I took a small loss as we, came back higher here. Ultimately, it actually did end up going back above VWAP, but all the way over here. And I don't know, it's a bit of a guessing zone. And I don't know, it just wasn't a really hot one for me. With DKNG, this was a ticker that we actually traded today. Or not, well, we closed this position today and right now it's actually at 52, so a little bit lower from where we sold. So DKNG, let me just go to our swing trade account. This was a pretty sweet trade we did. So DKNG obviously had the big Michael Jordan, is on the board now. Has a big deal with the New York Giants. With all the coronas, people staying at home. Online gaming, online sports betting. I mean, it's a massive, massive industry, and DKNG just had a huge breakout right around here. Actually, on the daily, you see it a little bit better. I just want to kind of give a little synopsis on what happened on this trade. I know a lot of you guys already kind of heard me talking about this one. So we broke out here, and we were having a nice pullback, and I was like, oh, I love this pullback. I love the 9 EMA support. Let me go and buy this one. We actually ended up buying this on the live stream, which was kind of fun. I was looking for the break here of 45. This was like the former high on this one. We broke it with nice big volume. I really like that. And then I was looking for kind of a test here at 55. I kind of chickened out and eventually sold at 52, 57 today when there was like a triple top or I think a double top. Let me just go to the 1 minute and you guys can see this a little bit better. So today, yeah, looking back, you're always like, oh, I sold too soon, but we actually had a nice little flat top breakout here. But in actuality, we had a high here, we had a second high here with lower volume, and then we had a third high here with even lower volume. And I was like, this is looking pretty bad. I was expecting this to actually have a continuation back to VWAP and sell off. And my original sell was around 54.20, so I moved it down here and just got out. To me, what I saw, the reason I got out of this one is because my possible upside was like 3%, but my possible downside here was like 3.6%. So I had a negative risk reward at this point. And I was already up over 30% on this trade alone. So I was like, I already felt like I was way too greedy on this one. So I felt like just, closing this one out was the way to go. So ultimately we ended, let's see here, 40s, I don't know, something around here. Yeah, we walked away with 50, I don't know, something like this, like 28% profit or something like that. So pretty sweet trade. Yeah, I think that's everything for this video, guys. Let me know what you think. What's going to happen with Snow? I would love to hear where your possible entries are. I'm going to be watching this one. Don't forget to join the streams if you want to kind of stay up to date, but we're doing a little bit more. Yeah, guys, and if you enjoyed the content, I really do appreciate any likes you guys drop. Really means a lot. Easy way to support the channel. And I will see you guys tomorrow then for the last trading day of the week. Till then, guys, stay safe, make some awesome trades. Ciao, ciao.